Hello, welcome to LMU Community TV News. I'm Ashley Hurley. Thank you for joining us. Law enforcement in Claiborne County is continuing their search for a man who attempted to break into Rigsby's Bait and Tackle early Monday morning. According to the Claiborne County Sheriff's Office, a man climbed up onto the roof of the store and then attempted to break in. His movements, though, triggered a silent alarm notifying Claiborne 911, who then dispatched the Claiborne County Sheriff's Office. Upon the officer's arrival, the man jumped off the roof and ran into the woods. Officers followed but weren't able to locate him. Following his break-in attempt at Rigsby's, the man broke into a car on Blairs Creek Road and then stole a truck from Sunnyside Auto Sales in Tazewell. The man stole a newer model Ford F-350 flatbed truck. Officers are asking that if you see this truck, to call 911 with a possible location. It does not have a tag, but instead has a Sunnyside Auto tag. The man is being pursued on several charges, and police are evaluating surveillance video to get a description of the man, and once we have been notified from police, we will put that information on our Facebook page. So be sure to keep an eye on our Facebook page at facebook.com/LMU-TV. A Hancock County teenager was killed in a car wreck in Granger County Saturday night. Tennessee Highway Patrol says 16-year-old Dakota Blevins was driving a Jeep on State Highway 131 when he crossed the center line, ran through a wooden fence, and hit a telephone pole. Troopers say the Jeep flipped. Blevins, though, was not ejected. Blevins played quarterback at Hancock County High School, where his father, Phil Blevins, is the coach. Troopers do not believe drugs or alcohol played a part in the wreck. Blevins was not wearing his seatbelt, although troopers don't think it would have made a difference. A police pursuit landed a man and female behind bars last Tuesday. The couple led officers on a pursuit from a home in Tazewell down Speedwell into the Flatwoods community. Police created a perimeter surrounding the area and located the vehicle, but the two were not inside. They were later located walking down the road and were taken into custody and transported to the Claiborne County Jail. Gary Oliver is charged with felony evading arrest, destruction of county property, 2 counts of aggravated assault, assault on police officers, impeding traffic, and reckless driving. The name of the female is not being released as the incident continues to be under investigation. A Tennessee man is facing felony charges in Kentucky for what police say he posted on Facebook. According to reports, 36-year-old David Lunsford threatened Binghamtown Baptist Church and Gateway Christian School in Middlesboro. On your screen is a photo of Lunsford that was taken from his Facebook page, courtesy of the Bell County Sheriff's Department. In one post, Lunsford said that he would like to crash a plane into the school. David Lunsford was arrested in Tennessee last Friday and charged with terroristic threatening and harassing communications. Lunsford is being held at the Bell County Detention Center on a $25,000 cash bond. Lunsford was arraigned earlier last week and pled not guilty. His preliminary hearing is set for October 13th. When we return, we have the completion to our series with Dr. Throckmorton and his incredible contribution to the papers being presented in National Geographic. So stay right here with us.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
every day across America. Excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest. You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
You were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Welcome back. The Kaler School of Nursing at Lincoln Memorial University will host an information session for prospective applicants on Tuesday, September 29th from 2 to 7 at the Blunt Extended Learning Site in the Alcoa City Center. Pre-registration is not required and interested persons may drop in at any time throughout the session. Information about all of the programs offered at the CSON, including the Associate of Science in Nursing, Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Master of Science in Nursing, and Doctor of Nursing Practice, will be presented. Applications for the program will be accepted during the information sessions. For more information on the session, you can call 1-800-325-0900, extension 6324. The Student Osteopathic Medical Association at Lincoln Memorial University DeBusk College of Osteopathic Medicine, in conjunction with the LMU DCOM Community Wellness Program, is hosting a Second Harvest Mobile Food Pantry and Wellness Fair on Sunday, October 4th. The Food Pantry and Wellness Fair is being held in the LMU DCOM parking lot on LMU's main campus. The mobile food pantry will be available from 10 until 4 or until the food runs out. Both students and staff from LMU DCOM will be participating in the wellness fair and will be on site to perform blood pressure checks, body mass index screenings, and osteopathic manipulative medicine. The event is open to the community and games will be held for children. A few of the participants will be University Medical Clinic, Claiborne County Health Department, and also Heavy's Barbecue will be on hand for some good food. Recently, Cumberland Gap National Historical Park Resource Management Specialist Jeannie Beeler was recognized as the 2015 NPS Southeast Region Park Employee of the Year. Deputy Regional Director Barclay Trimble, who is based at the Southeast Regional Office in Atlanta, presented Beeler with the prestigious award. Beeler's accomplishments were highlighted for her work that included her choreographing the park's Back the Bears program. Beeler has worked at the Cumberland Gap National Park for 13 years, but before this appointment, she worked as a biologist at the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. According to Sula Jacobs, the NPS Southeast region stretches from Kentucky and North Carolina on the north to Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands, and from Louisiana to the Atlantic coast, with 66 park units, including the Blue Ridge Parkway, the Everglades National Park, and the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Almost 3,000 employees safeguard the treasures found in these very special places. Well, today we are concluding our conversation with Dr. Throckmorton, one of the professors featured in one of the 2 papers published in the journal eLife describing one of the latest scientific discoveries. The discovery of a new species of human relative in a cave just outside of Johannesburg, South Africa was announced 2 weeks ago by the National Geographic Society and the South African National Research Foundation. Now here is Dr. Zach Throckmorton to explain his involvement in the project.
Why did we continue to evolve such huge brains? And that, I think, is one of the interesting questions that I particularly do not work, as a professional in the area of cognitive evolution, but I have a lot of friends who do, and a lot of scientists do this, and I certainly think it's interesting to think about. And this is a question that will be continued to research, and we will hope that we will find more information and more data from all sorts of different studies on fossils, on the behavior of living primates, from archaeology, that will help us rule out things that we know didn't happen, to cut them away. And so there's certainly, it will change some of the things that we think, but it definitely is not going to change the whole picture. And Homo naledi does not really make us think that anything substantive or important that we have thought about human evolution is wrong. So it's great, because Homo naledi is in many ways a good test of our existing theories, and we might not have anticipated what we've found, and it's surprising, and it's pretty cool, but Homo naledi doesn't make us go, we were wrong about this. And sometimes that happens in science, and that's great, because that's an integral part of the scientific process, is the recognition, I was wrong. And I know better now, and since I know better now, I am better moving forward. I know more moving forward. So Homo naledi is like adding a bunch more pieces to the puzzle, not saying the way you've put it together is completely wrong. So it's really nice. Yeah. I am very fortunate in that I had a lot of opportunities from the time that I was very young to have a very good education and a very, very good training. I went to good public schools when I was young. I went to the University of Michigan for undergrad, which is a very good school. I did a terminal master's degree at the University of Indianapolis, where I received excellent training, and which allowed me to attend the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where I continued to receive excellent training, which allowed me to get a really good job at Lincoln Memorial University, where I've continued to learn a lot and improve my own skills as a scientist and as an educator. And all of those things are still intact. And I feel so grateful, because there are a lot of people who do the same thing that I do, who work really hard, who take advantage of opportunities, and have some skill, and they don't get opportunities like this, and I have, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm very fortunate for that. And yeah, it's pretty awesome to have an opportunity like this. I mean, professionally, it's great. I mean, I'm going to be able to use this to help establish myself as someone in the field who's worth listening to. I made a lot of really good friends by participating in this workshop. So personally, I have a bigger network of friends, and I've been able to go down to South Africa, and okay, yeah, over the course of that 6 weeks, we took a few days off one weekend, and we got to go on a game drive in one of their national parks and see cheetahs and elephants and rhinos in the wild. And yeah, that's a pretty spectacular experience. I'm so fortunate to have my wife Sarah, who is very supportive of me going overseas for weeks at a time to do what I do, and I come home and she's happy to see me, and our marriage picks up right where it was. And my family is proud of me, and my colleagues and my employer are proud of me. So yeah, it feels pretty spectacular, and I'm very lucky.
The announcement will also be featured on the cover of the October issue of National Geographic. Well, sports stats, scores, and more from Adam Haley is coming right up, so keep it right here on LMU Community TV News.
Out of the military, I was missing this camaraderie.
It's frustrating when you try and talk to people that don't understand.
I would be talking, but I wasn't there with them. You just feel so alone.
I still had the anger, I still had the addictions, but we didn't talk about that.
Came to a point where it's like, okay, I really need to talk to somebody about this.
Family more or less encouraged me, go to the VA, you're a veteran, see what they can do to help you.
When you have family, friends, when you have the facilities like the VA and the vet center, it gives me, it gives others encouragement to keep moving forward.
It's okay to go get help. It's okay to talk to people, because it takes true strength to ask for help.
Talking with other veterans was the best method for learning the roadmap to success.
Hear veterans' real stories of strength and recovery at maketheconnection.net.
Doesn't see race. Love is love.
Cinderella found the pet that fits her perfectly. Tiana gave her pet the royal treatment. Belle found beauty where no one else did. And you can too. Share your heart. Share your love. Bring home your forever friend. Make a shelter pet part of your world. Happily Ever After begins at theshelterpetproject.org.
Welcome back. The LMU volleyball team was at home this past weekend for 2 South Atlantic Conference matches. On Friday night, they hosted the Coker Cobras. The Lady Rail Splitters came out firing, connecting on 16 kills in the first set to win 25-18. The Cobras fought back in set 2 to win 26-24. But that would be all they could muster as LMU rolled through the next 2 sets, 25-14 and 25-17 to win the match 3-1. Kira Holland led LMU with 15 kills, while Abby Cash ended the night with 54 assists. On Saturday, the ladies welcome in the 9-time defending champion Wingate Bulldogs to the Mary Mars Gymnasium. LMU would not be intimidated as they came out in set 1 and hit 400 on their way to a 25-15 win. Then the experience from Coach Shelton Collier settled down his Bulldog team, and they went to work. They used 9 LMU errors to win set 2, 25-18. Set 3 was a battle for both teams, but once again it was Wingate pointing out 25-22 before they shut the door on the Lady Rail Splitters in the 4th set, 25-19 to win the match 3-1. Now at 4-6 overall and 2-5 in conference play, the ladies will rest through the week as they get ready for another homestand this weekend against Anderson in Newberry. On the soccer field, the LMU women's and men's teams traveled to Hickory, North Carolina last Saturday to face Lenore Ryan. The women got the day started, and the scoring between the two started early. Only 63 seconds into the match, Emily Dunn scored on a penalty kick for the Bears to give them the early lead. Dunn then scored again a little less than 4 minutes later to put the Bears up by 2. LMU got on the board in the 7th minute when Josephine Hedstrom finished off a shot that hit the crossbar, but that would be all the offense Lady Rail Splitters will be able to put on the board. Leah Mullins added a security goal in the 65th minute for Lenore Ryan, and the Bears went on to the win 3-1. The LMU men took on the field on Saturday, still unbeaten on the season. Lenore Ryan got on the board first in the 29th minute on a shot by Ishmael Numansana. LMU's Pedro Villa would score in the 43rd minute to send the two to halftime tied at 1. The Rail Splitters would come out and put up 8 shots in the second half, connecting on 2. First a goal by Leonardo da Silva in the 55th minute and another goal by Villa in the 65th minute to hand LMU the 3-2 victory. Both the Lady Rail Splitters and Rail Splitters will be at home on Wednesday afternoon when they play host to Hiwassee. The ladies will start at 2 p.m. with the men starting at 4 p.m. LMU Sports Network will have coverage starting at 1:50 p.m. online at LMURailSplitters.com. Now let's take a look at the high school football scoreboard from last Friday. Our Old Town Grill game of the week was a battle of border county rivals when Claiborne hosted Granger. The two teams exchanged the first 4 touchdowns, and then the Grizzlies' rushing attack proved to be too much as Granger went on to the win 54-18. Granger, unofficially on the night, had 241 rushing yards on 39 carries and 5 rushing touchdowns. Elsewhere in Tennessee, Hancock County has now lost 2 games in a row with their loss on Friday to Cosby, 35-12. Campbell County has found something with quarterback Josh Slay as the Cougars shut out Cott County 42-0. Since Campbell County turned to Lay at quarterback, they have rolled off 4 straight wins. Angelico got back in the win column and snapped their 2-game losing streak when they beat visiting Lynn Camp, Kentucky 44-14. In Kentucky, the Middlesboro Yellow Jackets finally picked up their first win of the season when they beat previously undefeated Harlan Independent 28-21. Middlesboro's Logan Camps rushed the ball 14 times for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns in the victory. Pineville improved to 3-2 on their season with their 41-0 win over Cumberland Gap. The Mountain Lions outgained the Panthers 381-74 in the win. The Panthers' losing streak is now at 13 games and is now the 4th longest active streak in Tennessee. And in Virginia, Thomas Walker could not make it 2 in a row as they fell to Eastside 55-34. It was Eastside's first victory of the season. We'll preview the games coming up this weekend on our weekend edition of LMU Community TV Sports later in the week. The Sprint Cup Series was at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway on Sunday for the Sylvania 300 and the second race in the Challenger round. While the race on the track is why everyone was there, it was the beginning of the race and the news after the race people were talking about. When the green flag flew at the start of the race, it was the 789th consecutive start for Jeff Gordon, which now moves him ahead of Ricky Rudd for the most consecutive starts all time. Gordon has not missed a Sprint Cup race since he started at the end of the 1992 season. On the track, Carl Edwards had the pole and would lead 19 laps before being taken over by Kevin Harvick. Harvick led for the majority of the day, leading a total of 216 of the 300 laps, but ran out of gas with 4 remaining to finish a disappointing 21st. Matt Kenseth led only 27 laps, but he led the money lap at the end and took home his 5th win of the season, which will also advance him to the contender round. Last week's winner, Denny Hamlin, took second, followed by Joey Logano, Greg Biffle, and Carl Edwards. The Sprint Cup will be at Dover next week for the final race of the Challenger round. Currently, Kyle Busch and Paul Menard are 1 point out of the cutoff spot, while Harvick is 23 back and Clint Boyer is 39 points back. Now, off the track, later on that evening, reports started to surface that next year will be the final year for Tony Stewart racing in the Sprint Cup Series. There's a press conference set for 1 p.m. on Wednesday at Stewart Haas Racing to announce Stewart's upcoming retirement and that when he steps out of the number 14 car, Clint Boyer will be his replacement. Now that's all for sports, but stay tuned. After the break, Joseph Lewis will let us know how new releases Hotel Transylvania 2 and The Intern did this past weekend when he brings you the box office report when we return on LMU Community TV News.
She couldn't wait.
She had imagined the day for as long as she could remember.
The anticipation had been building.
The shopping, the dress, the jewelry.
Celebrating with her friends would be the sign that they had finally made it.
Only she didn't make it.
According to MAD.org, teen alcohol use kills 4,700 people each year. That's more than all illegal drugs combined.
Car crashes are the leading cause of death for teens, and about a quarter of those crashes involve an underage drinker.
Don't add to these statistics.
Take a stand against underage drinking.
The future is in your hands.
One. Two.
Me.
1 in 3 teens in the U.S. is a victim of abuse by a dating partner.
Numbers are important in sports, but now the number we want is 0. 0 victims, 0 offenders, no more.
We make up a larger team, Abe's team.
We're asking you to join Abe's team and be a part of No More.
So maybe you're wondering, what does it take to be on Abe's team?
Active bystander efforts. Step in when you see someone needs help.
Ask what you can do. Believe victims. Extend your support.
Act better everywhere and expect your friends to do so too.
Always be enthusiastic, especially in obtaining consent.
Avoid belligerent egos who coerce, bully, or threaten.
Alcohol brings error, and I will not leave a friend behind.
Join Abe's team and say no more. Let's be #AbeHealthy.
Lincoln once said, "When I do good, I feel good. When I do bad, I feel bad." And that is my religion. In the spirit of Lincoln, let us support one another to do good. Join Abe's team and be Abe healthy by participating in active bystander efforts.
Hello, I'm Joseph Lewis, bringing you all the latest information in the world of movies. Tops at the box office this weekend were led by the animated sequel Hotel Transylvania 2, starting its run with $47 million and immediately becoming the biggest September opener of all time, a record previously held by the first Hotel Transylvania. Following at number 2 was Nancy Meyers' new romantic comedy, The Intern, taking $18 million thanks to the star power of Anne Hathaway and Robert De Niro. And rounding out the top 3 was last week's winner, the post-apocalyptic action-adventure sequel Maze Runner: The Scorch Trials, adding $14 million onto its now $51 million domestic gross. The weekend's other major newcomer, Eli Roth's controversial exercise in cannibal horror The Green Inferno, did less than stellar business, pulling just over $3 million from roughly 1,500 screens. Meanwhile, Denis Villeneuve's crime thriller Sicario continues to draw audiences, generating $1.7 million from 59 screens. With strong word of mouth from critics and viewers alike, the film can be expected to take off when it expands nationwide this coming weekend. Other recent releases, including Black Mass, The Visit, and The Perfect Guy, are still performing well, and this weekend also saw the expansion of Everest, making the climb from 545 IMAX venues to 3,000 screens nationwide, and adding $13 million onto its now $23 million domestic gross. And finally, in review this week is Everest, the biographical adventure drama based on the 1996 Mount Everest disaster in which multiple daring adventurers climbed to an untimely demise after being hit by an intense and deadly blizzard. Icelandic director Baltasar Kormákur directs an all-star cast including Jason Clarke, Jake Gyllenhaal, Josh Brolin, and John Hawkes, among others, portraying the climbing teams, along with Keira Knightley, Emily Watson, and Robin Wright as the group's contacts back home and on the ground. The opening passages of Everest will feel familiar to anyone who's ever seen a disaster movie from the 90s. The characters are introduced one by one in ways that quickly establish their personalities, a few friendly rivalries are hinted at, and the risks involved in the expedition at hand are poured over to create a sense of impending dread. The setup is well done, written with an appealing simplicity by Simon Beaufoy and William Nicholson, and packed with endearing character types courtesy of the film's more-than-game cast. But Everest slowly elevates itself to something more substantial than an entertaining action-adventure. Unlike many films of its ilk, Everest forces the audience to face both the excitement and the terror inherent in its subject matter. It's no spoiler to reveal that certain characters eventually succumb to the harsh cold and the treacherous terrain, and when that happens, director Kormákur doesn't shy away from either their physical pain or the emotional pain experienced by their loved ones. On a visual and an oral level, the film is astounding. The farther the characters climb, the more awe-inspiring and horrifying the landscapes become, and the constant wind on the sound mix increases to a point where one begins to forget what quiet sounds like. The scale and skill of its spectacle overwhelms, especially on an IMAX screen. The human story at its center is what sticks, however, and for all the film's horror and sadness, the warm, lived-in performances keep Everest from becoming needlessly bleak. Jason Clarke is excellent as the group's leader, and despite the two having minimal actual screen time together, his endangered relationship with the Keira Knightley character is convincing and moving. Josh Brolin is also dependably terse as a Texan who refuses to let the mountain take him, and Emily Watson, so memorably heartbreaking in films like Breaking the Waves and Punch Drunk Love, once again delivers an emotionally powerful performance. Though Everest's story hardly reinvents the wheel, the level of filmmaking involved and the real-life poignancy of its subject matter make it an early highlight of this year's run of prestige pictures. That's all for today in the world of movies. I'm Joseph Lewis.
And that's going to do it for this week's LMU Community TV News. But before we go, Adam's got some games coming up.
LMU volleyball will be at home on Friday night, taking on Anderson. It's a 7 o'clock first serve. 2 o'clock on Saturday against Newberry. Both those games will be on LMU Community TV on the channel. And on Saturday, the LMU soccer teams will be at home for doubleheader action, as well as the volleyball game and another white coat ceremony on campus here. So come out.
I liked how you just did that.
It's a lot of stuff on
Talking
Saturday.
about everything going
It's a
on.
lot of stuff on Saturday.
Just stack it up.
Yes.
All right, well, that's going to do it.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Adam Haley.
And for everyone behind the scenes, I'm Ashley Hurley. We'll see you this weekend.